I'm Ashley.
Sitting here in my dad's old workshop, surrounded by the smell of sawdust and the tools he used to create beautiful things, I'm reminded of the storm that nearly destroyed me and the armor he left me to weather it. It all came to a head at my mother's so-called family meeting, which was nothing more than an ambush. There I was, standing in my mother's living room, facing 3 lawyers hired by her to force me to sign away the inheritance my father left me. A room full of relatives, some avoiding my eyes, others wearing smug expressions, and those lawyers with their expensive suits and leather briefcases. Mr. Thompson, the lead lawyer, opened a folder slowly and said the will leaving me as the sole beneficiary might be contestable. They claimed my father, Henry, wasn't of sound mind when he made it. I remembered the words Richard, my stepfather, had said at the cafe before this. "You're a nobody, Ashley. You think you can keep this money? You're just like your father, stubborn and stupid." And my mother, with her fake tears, pleaded for me to be reasonable. "I raised you, Ashley. I sacrificed so much for you. This money should be mine." But I wasn't alone. I reached for my phone and sent a single word to Harold, my father's lawyer. 2 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Harold walked in, calm and confident, dressed in a sharp black suit. He set his briefcase on the coffee table and announced he was representing me. Harold started by addressing their claim about my father's mental state. He slid a psychiatric evaluation across the table, showing that my father was fully competent. "Any court in this state will accept this," he said firmly. Then he brought out a USB drive filled with evidence of the harassment campaign they'd launched against me. "If this goes to court, I'll not only defend the will but also file counter claims for harassment and defamation." The room fell silent. The lawyers exchanged nervous glances, and my mother's face turned pale. My stepfather slammed his hand on the table, shouting, "This is ridiculous. We're family." But Harold remained unfazed. "I can and will sue. The evidence is overwhelming." It all started 25 years ago when my parents divorced. I was 7 then. My father was a talented painter. He could bring life to a canvas, but he couldn't afford good lawyers against my mother, Sarah. She was a shrewd businesswoman, always looking for an edge. After the divorce, she got the house and custody of me, while my father got 2 weekends a month and a broken heart. I still remember the last time he dropped me off of my mother's. He knelt down, his paint-stained hands gentle on my shoulders. "Remember, Ashley, I'll always love you." I didn't understand his tears then. A year later, my mother remarried Richard, a cold and calculating man. He had a daughter, Lily, from his previous marriage. At family gatherings, my mother would introduce everyone. "This is my husband, Richard, and this is Lily, our daughter. Oh, and this is Ashley, from my previous marriage." I felt like an afterthought, like I didn't belong. When I was 16, I asked my mother for money to buy art supplies for school. She looked at me as if I'd asked for the moon. "Ask your father. He's supposed to take care of you." That same week, Lily got a brand new car for her 18th birthday. I started working odd jobs after school, feeling like every dollar I earned was a small rebellion. Richard noticed and sneered. "She's just like her father, wasting her life on meaningless things." I pretended not to hear, but his words cut deep. At my high school graduation, I ranked top in art. I expected nothing from my family, and they didn't disappoint. My mother forgot to invite relatives. But my father was there, sitting in the back row in his old paint-splattered jacket. He clapped the loudest when my name was called. After the ceremony, he gave me an envelope. "I've been saving for your art school. Don't tell your mother." 14 years later, I got the call from Harold. My father had passed away peacefully in his sleep. I found out from a stranger, while my mother and stepfather had known for 3 days and didn't even bother to call me. Harold told me my father had left me everything in his will. The house on Elm Street, worth around $600,000, a savings account with $200,000, and some personal effects. I couldn't believe it. My father had lived simply, driving an old car and wearing the same paint-stained clothes. He sold his art studio years ago and invested wisely so he could leave me this. Then the phone calls started. Aunt Carol, my mother's sister, called first. Ashley, your mother is so upset. You should share what your father left. After all, she was married to him. Uncle David called next, and then other relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. They all had the same script. My mother called and invited me to a family meeting. Before that, we met at a cafe. Richard was there, and he wasted no time. Your dad's gone. Your mother deserves a share of the estate. Sign the papers, 70-30 split. I refused, and he said, "You'll regret this." After that, the harassment campaign began. Text messages, Facebook posts, all accusing me of being selfish and ungrateful. But I saved every piece of evidence, following my father's advice. The night before the family meeting, I opened the sealed envelope my father had left me. His handwriting filled the page. He told me how my mother had threatened to take me away completely during the divorce. He signed away everything just to keep some time with me. He said he regretted giving in and that I should never bow to people who didn't deserve my respect. After the family meeting ambush was foiled, Harold and I drove in silence for a while. I thanked him, and he said he was just delivering what my father had prepared. 2 weeks of silence followed, but it felt like the calm before a storm. One night, the security app on my phone alerted me to motion in the front yard. I saw Richard's car parked there, the engine running. I called the police, but they didn't seem too concerned. The next morning, Lily texted me. "He's been drinking and saying you humiliated him. He'll make you pay." Then, at 3:07 a.m., the security alert woke me. Motion on the front porch. I watched on the camera as 2 figures in dark clothes poured gasoline around the porch and pulled out a lighter. I dialed 911 immediately. But my father had installed a sprinkler system years ago, and it activated just in time. The fire was mostly put out by the time the fire trucks arrived. The police arrested Richard and my mother. The trial lasted 4 months. The evidence was overwhelming, and they were both found guilty. Richard got 10 years for arson and conspiracy, and my mother got 5 years. A year has passed since the trial. I live in my father's house now. I still work as an artist. My mother is in prison, and I don't read the letters she sends. I have a restraining order against Richard. Lily and I are trying to start over. I've learned that family isn't always about blood, and I have the right to set boundaries. My father left me more than just money. He left me the strength to stand tall and never let anyone take my dignity again.